And it's good to be here with you. Another opportunity to go within, to remember what's true, release what's false. Just take a nice deep breath. And you can know that right in this moment, you are safe. And right in this moment, nothing different needs to happen. Nothing more has to be. Just being here is enough. And it may be that as you sit in this quiet, safe place, some thoughts come in that don't feel quiet or safe. And you can just notice that there's a pillow right in front of you in your mind. And you can just place those thoughts on this soft pillow. Just coming back to that restful feeling in the mind. And the beautiful thing about this pillow is that it welcomes as many distracting or upsetting thoughts as come into the mind. Even if it seems like one after another, just gently set them on the pillow. Pillow is welcoming to anything we lay on it. Even intense thoughts, even attack thoughts. It's just the nature of this pillow that it's always receptive. Even if you put a whole warehouse full of upset thoughts on it, there's still space for more. So we can just stay in this soft and inner space. just resting in this place of peace within the mind. Knowing that this restful place is like a spring. It's like a font of water in the mind, but it's a font of spirit. It feeds this part of us so deeply. And we are always worthy of it. It is always with us. And if we are not always feeling it, we can know we have just simply wandered from it a bit. And then we can easily turn back to this soft resting place within. And one more time, we can just lay any tension or upsetting thoughts onto that pillow, that altar to spirit. God, in his knowledge, is not waiting, but his kingdom is bereft while you wait. All the sons of God are waiting for your return, just as you are waiting for theirs. You have elected to be in time rather than eternity, and therefore believe you are in time. Yet your election is both free and alterable. You do not belong in time. Your place is only in eternity, where God himself placed you forever. So here we're being told where we belong. We belong only in eternity. Only in eternity. How do we find ourselves here then? Well, he gives us that answer too. Guilt feelings are the preservers of time. Guilt feelings induce fears of retaliation or abandonment, and thus ensure that the future will be like the past. So this is the ego's use of time. That these feelings induce fears of retaliation or abandonment. That keeps the timeline going. This is the ego's continuity. It gives the ego a false sense of security by believing that you cannot escape from it. But you can and must. That's encouraging. You can escape from the ego and you must. And you will. It doesn't say that here, but you will. God offers you the continuity of eternity in exchange. In exchange for the ego, God gives you the continuity of eternity. It's a pretty good deal. When you choose to make this exchange, you will simultaneously exchange guilt for joy, viciousness for love, and pain for peace. My role, Jesus's role is only to unchain your will and set it free. Your ego cannot accept this freedom and will oppose it at every possible moment and in every possible way. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Anyone feel like their ego opposes this path at every possible moment and in every possible way? Okay, well, Jesus is letting us know that's to be expected. Doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It actually means you're doing it. You're doing this path. You're finding the part of you that doesn't want to wake up, that doesn't want to heal. And as the ego's maker, you recognize what it can do because you gave it the power to do it. So part of us knows that we did all this. And it's helpful to see that because you can't simultaneously be the maker of it and the victim to it. If you are a little helpless dream figure, oh yeah, woe was you. Look at all the things that can happen. Look at all the sad stories that can unfold. But you are not a little helpless dream figure. This is what he's helping us to remember. You are the dreamer of the dream. What happens when we wake up from a scary dream in bed in the morning? Oh, first thing we say is, oh my gosh, that was just a dream. That wasn't actually real. It felt so real. I was so scared because I thought that horrible thing was happening. Maybe we even like sigh a sigh of relief. Oh, thank God. Thank God. That awful thing wasn't really unfolding. Well, Jesus is trying to get you to do that now. You don't have to wait till the last wisp of the dream is gone to have this realization. You can find freedom of this now. That's really the only time you can find the freedom of this. So how do we get from here to there? Well, we look at the chains of guilt. As he starts off by saying, guilt feelings are the preservers of time. Guilt feelings are the preservers of time. So do you have a guilt feeling? Do you feel guilty about something? Let's lift it up. Let's give it the Holy Spirit. Let's hand over this preserver of time. Because we're starting to we don't want to be a preserver of time. We don't want to hold up time as something special and sacred. The ego does. The ego thinks time is very sacred. The ego thinks a past trauma is very sacred. Ooh, that's a really special one. Something bad seemed to happen in the past. Oh boy, that's the ego's bread and butter. The ego is going to dip into that well over and over and over again. Why? Because it preserves time. It makes time seem real. It makes the timeline seem like the truth. You could think of the mind as like a whole bunch of shelves that we've carefully preserved these guilt feelings on. We want to start emptying the shelves. I come with the Holy Spirit waste bucket and start sweeping the shelves into the forgiveness bin. And what does the ego want to do? The ego wants to close the door to the room with the shelves and forget that it even exists, but to keep it there. Forget it and keep it. Because that's the whole trick. What is unexamined will be held on to. What's unwitnessed will be kept. Jesus talks about that the things that we've hidden are not scary in and of themselves, but because we have hidden them. So if we have something on the shelf, we have a shelf we're really not wanting to go to. That's a great opportunity. Maybe even as this is coming up this morning, you've already got a few shelves, a few items on the shelf coming to mind. Beautiful. Beautiful. If you're judging yourself for having things on your shelf, you got to let that go. Jesus says in different ways throughout the course, if you were already healed, you wouldn't have need of the course. You wouldn't have need of forgiveness. So you don't need to be hard on yourself because you're still working on some things. But you can remember that now is the moment. Now is the moment that I can sweep another thing into the forgiveness bin. And again, the only way to do that is to be willing to go there, be willing to see what that thing is, not judgmentally, not to beat yourself up, but softly, gently, with patience. Because you know what the Holy Spirit loves to do? The Holy Spirit loves when you show him something on your shelf. The Holy Spirit loves that. Because that's one more thing that you're willing to not keep between yourself and him, between yourself and God. You know, if you were at a party with the Holy Spirit, a lot of times at parties, people have sort of discussions about the world or a lot of chit chat kind of things. You know, all Holy Spirit would want to bring up with you was what, let's look at something on your shelf. What are you ready to heal right now? You can you can use this joining here to do this. Someone has something on their shelf that you'd like to bring into the light. Solvay.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I have a lot of symptoms on my shelf. Asthma, and it's like, yeah. And a very loving dog who's just, it's funny, I had this, we went for a walk and I could just feel I had a lot of asthma coming up. And then when I sat down here, came into the meeting, it just suddenly disappeared. And even Indio, that's the dog's name, was right on top of me, licking my hands, everything. Just so suddenly it disappeared, like.
India.
Yeah. But I think I feel guilt of still having all these symptoms for something that's not dangerous, but still feeling like I can't breathe.
Yeah.
And we arrived yesterday, and it's just several times it comes up this like what the fuck am I doing? Like, I think I've used my whole life trying to avoid asthma. I'm trying to avoid these symptoms. And now it seems like I'm going straight into the lion cage. You know, it's like, yeah.
Yes, you can do it.
And having these like 7 weeks that might actually be more. The crazy thing is that the whole way through it just felt so guided and so right. And I had this screaming voice inside my head saying, "What the fuck are you doing?" Oh.
I think you're doing it. You're doing it.
Which is, yeah, wow. But when it's really like, I feel like I can't breathe, then the terror comes up in my mind, you know. It's just, and I just realized I have been avoiding this my whole life. I've arranged my life in a way where I would not get in contact with something dangerous, you know. No. Hi, India. Yeah.
It comes in the form of love.
He's the most loving dog. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just right. Just right.
Yeah. And I would definitely, on the shelves, there's a lot of future thoughts, like future just being the next 3 hours, but future thoughts like, oh, this is gonna be worse. This is gonna be terrible. This is gonna, yeah. So I like to look at that shelf too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put that in the bin. Whole shelf.
Yeah. Right now, there's no ACIM. It's like, yeah, it's licking my hand.
What about that future? What about a future of no asthma for your whole time there? What about a future of happiness and just enjoying your connection with the dog? And
Yeah. That's why the voice in my mind says that's insane, can never be. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's that tiring voice that also you're putting in the bin. I mean, like you said, you lived your whole life obeying that voice, and
Yeah,
it's awful.
I see that very clearly. This avoid everything that could be just a little bit dangerous. Yeah. You know, I can't see anything now. Can you go down a little? Thanks. Yeah. Yeah.
As you started sharing, I got this image of like like the movie where we bought a zoo or something. Like you and Peter are like having like a whole, I don't know, menagerie of animals and joy and happiness.
When we came yesterday, there were 7 dogs, but 6 of them
Oh,
just. That was very intense. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I know I've gone through all this with Lulu, and it helps me to remember that it was the same. If even cats have always been worse than dogs, actually. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
think pretty soon you're going to have that fish dinner you've been thinking about.
Maybe not today, but yeah. Small steps.
Yeah. I cheer you on. I feel the healing in this and the joy in it. I agree. You're right where you need to be. It's totally true.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Mm. Yeah. Good to have you back.
It's good to be back. Thanks.
Hey. take a nice deep breath here. Hey, who else has a shelf item to bring forward? Peter?
Hi, morning.
Hi, welcome.
Just having a lot of pain in my body. And then the middle of the night, I got up and it was terrible, really. Yeah, I could just feel all this pulling on my body, like I have around my knees. And yeah, it's quite hard for me to talk about pain in my body. It's usually something I've stuffed away. I need to share that. It was very intense last night, and I've been quite a lot of pain with my knee. So I don't really understand this deep holding. It's what it feels like, this pulling inside, holding on or something. And I don't even really recognize what it relates to. I mean, there's a fear there, I think, underneath, especially around my knees. Yeah, I think that's it, really. Just wanted to share that, not keep it hidden on the shelf, as you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Hear the words, this too shall pass.
Okay. Well, that'll be good. I mean, I can feel it. It's like a doctor might say this is arthritis, but I can definitely feel the sort of psychosomatic, if you like, side to it.
Well, maybe just by exploring it, talking it, naming it, you're making it a little more approachable.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. That's why I'm doing it now, really. Yeah. But yeah, we've had a lot of dramas, so little dramas. I mean, just so with the house and the animals and so on and so forth, things not working and cars not working. And so it's been interesting, but it's okay. We're getting there bit by bit. I think that's it, really. Just
I really feel you guys. It's beautiful. I don't know. It just feels good to have you nearby.
yeah, we're not far away as the crow flies.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Peter. So I keep thinking, there's this thing around Christmas called Elf on the Shelf. It's this little toy. It's supposed to keep the kids in line for Christmas because the elf is watching if they're going to be good or not. And it's reporting back to Santa Claus. But we don't we don't want something like that. But we do want something to witness what's on the shelf. And again, maybe you have something. Maybe you are wanting to bring something forward now. Well, if I look into our forgiveness bin, I see there's still room to throw some things in there.
Hi.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you all. I think the first little thing is probably just to speak here. I take away from the shell. Off you go.
Yeah.
I have had a lot of going back to my childhood, places I couldn't remember, and being shown very small decisions I made, and huge healing, huge release. And then later on, days or weeks, then ego comes and tells me that you can't remember things like that. You can't go back in time to places you can't remember. And also because one of the times it was before I was born.
Mhm.
And
I'm
it
just
was
gonna,
right.
yeah, I'm just gonna say you do remember those things. You can trust the memories. Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear it. I can hear that I'm stronger in the faith that it is true.
Mhm.
So one of the things I remember I really want to put on the altar is that I hated my mother when I was born in her stomach.
Mhm.
And that inside her stomach, I felt that she was choking me. So I hated her my whole life before she ever did anything. That's
Mm.
I did.
Yeah, thank you for naming that.
And I don't want to hate her anymore.
Mm.
I only want to see her as love.
That's beautiful. And you're doing it. This is the path. So to allow the feelings up, to look at them with kindness and compassion. Even hate can be looked at.
I saw her. She asked me one time if I was okay when I was a child. And I lied. And I said I was. And I can see from that point I blamed her. Because she should have seen that I was lying.
Mm. Yeah, it's good to just wash all of these things. And yeah, again, just as we feel them and breathe with them, then the emotions can move through. But it's like a gentle cleansing. It's like we're cleansing the memory. As Jesus says, only the loving thoughts are true. That's why we don't need to have any doubt about looking at these, even feelings of hate or lying or guilt around that, because whatever isn't true is going to heal.
Yeah, I can feel it. I want to see her love. I've never seen it. I always hated her.
Mm. Yeah, and you don't need to try to generate it but yeah, it's beautiful that you have a prayer.
It comes from the right place. I want to love her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very pure. It's very pure. And again, to allow, like you said, allow the feelings of hate, allow the judgments around her, allow the upsets in your mind. As those keep falling away, the love will just show itself.
All the animals is outside the door now.
You
Thank
feel
you.
the healing.
Yeah, they do. Thank you, Barret.
Yeah.
Thank you
So
for letting me be here.
much.
Very happy.
It's a gift. It's a gift that you're here with us.
Thank you.
Peter.
Is it okay if I speak again?
Mhm.
Indio lives in a separate place, kind of a shed. And it brings up for me, he's very new to the owner as well. They're not really bonded. But
Peter, I think before
yeah.
you get into it, let's just take a breath here.
Okay. It's just stuff about being imprisoned comes up for me. And I suddenly brought it back very strongly for me when I was young. Had a great fear of being imprisoned. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Like in the meditation, we can just put this all on the altar, put these fears on the altar. Maybe even if what you just named has any connection to some of the body pain, put that on the altar. Again, you're held through all of this.
Grief. Part of me just wants to go now. Just I can feel the shame and
Yeah, you can just allow that to. You could say that it's like we have these hidden pockets in the mind, and you just come into another one of the pockets and just doing the best you can to be with it. I think there's something about being back in Spain, being back home. I think there's like something like being lifted in a safe way, like you're being gently lifted.
there's been some fear. And I think just maybe fear of stuff coming up. Yeah. I'm not sure, just fear of being a bit more back in community in the light. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're just ready for some deeper layers, and I think just being back is bringing forward.
That would be nice. Yeah, thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Home. When you said home, I went, oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Thanks, Barret.
A lot of fear coming up this morning, and then I get into these states where I just blame everything and blaming the situation and just, yeah, it's like this vicious attack that comes out that's just refusing to take it back to my mind to heal. It's just like this refusal, like it's like I want the guilt, like I'm so attracted to the pain.
It's good you're seeing that.
Yeah, I'd really like to see some deeper things in my mind, because it's mostly this feeling of not being good enough, not being, I think, holy enough.
Well, those thoughts sound pretty deep. You're going pretty deep into your mind, it feels like. I mean, this is kind of meaty stuff in the mind. But it's good that you see what you said at the beginning, that you don't want to bring the projections back. You want it to be something outside of you. Because that's, yeah. Of course, the ego never wants us to bring the projections back.
Yeah, it's got all these excuses like, okay, I'm in this small space. I've always hated small spaces. I've never felt, you know, like I want to be where I am. And I feel like yeah, like this story, it's just stories like, oh, well, you must have a problem with being in small spaces and you'll never heal that. Like it's,
Well, maybe you already thought that maybe that's why you're there. I don't know what better way to heal a judgment against small spaces than to live in a small space for a while.
hmm.
Beautiful. Beautiful being with you guys.